Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be rating every single book that I own, like in person, because I have also read some books like online, but I'll rate those in another video. So I'm gonna start with the ones that I haven't read yet, and I'm just gonna like quickly go through them because I can't really say anything about them. I only have 3, but I told you guys about how I bought Turtles All the Way Down by John Green in my last video. I haven't read this one yet, but I'm gonna read it next. I'm super excited for that one. And then Daisy Jones and the Six. I haven't read this one either yet. I started the series and I didn't finish it, but I've heard the book is really good, so I just need to power through and try and read it. And then the last one I also really want to read next is I'm Glad My Mom Died. I've heard such good things about it, and I really like kind of memoirs, I guess. I've heard this one is really good. I'm also gonna try and read this one next. Okay. And then I'm gonna do all my romance books, my favorite genre. So first, I don't know if this one is really romance, but I kind of count it as romance. It's The Song of Achilles. It's definitely the saddest romance I own. It's so good, and I also mentioned this book in my favorite books of all time. It is one of my favorite books of all time. It's so good. So if you want to hear more about it, go watch my other video. And then I have The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. This book, I almost finished it. I had to just put it down. I couldn't power through it. I'm sorry if you love this book, but it's basically like enemies to lovers, and they like go on this vacation because somehow this girl gets tickets. I can't really remember, honestly. It's like she somehow gets tickets, and then she asks like her co-worker, like enemy, to like go with her somehow, and they make kind of like a deal. Like, it was good in the beginning, but then it just got really kind of cringy to me and kind of cheesy, and I didn't really like it that much. I'm sorry, but the cover is so cute, and like it's blue on the side. I would probably give this one like maybe a 3 out of 5. I feel like that's kind of generous. You can give it a try if you want to, but I wouldn't really like recommend it, you know. Next is The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. This one, look, I did not get very far. I couldn't finish it. It kept dragging on, and I was just like, when are we gonna get any like action, you know? It just wasn't happening, and it was just kind of blah to me. But I'll tell you guys what the plot is. It's basically this girl, Lena, she gets left to the altar, and she finds out it's because the best man of her fiance or ex-fiance kind of said something to him that made him not want to marry her. So she obviously is like doesn't like this guy, and then they have to later on, like a few years later, they have to work on a work project together. So it's like enemies to lovers. I would probably give this like a 1.5 out of 5. Sorry. And then next is going to be Every Summer After, and I also did not completely finish this one. This one is about like childhood besties, and they like grow up together, fall in love, and then they have a big falling out, and then they meet again later in the future. So kind of like Love in Other Words, which is like my favorite romance book of all time. So that's why I read this one, because it sounded really similar to that book. But it was just, you know, it was like reading the same story over, so I didn't really like it that much. But I feel like if I had read this before Love in Other Words, then I would have loved this one, you know what I mean? So it really just depends on which one you read first, but I would say you should go read Love in Other Words first, because I like that one a little bit better than this one. But yeah, this one was good too. It was like reading the same story. So I would maybe, I don't know, this one is hard to rate. Maybe I would give it like a 3.5 out of 5, because I wasn't a big fan because it was like reading the same one. But I feel like you could go read it. If you like Friends to Lovers, you should go read this one. Next is Archer's Voice. I've heard such good things about this one. People seem to love it. but I did not completely finish it. I got really close, but then I just couldn't take it any longer. But it's basically about this girl who leaves like her whole life behind and moves to this small town, and then she meets Archer. He's mute, so they meet each other and then they kind of fall in love, and she figures out like why nobody really talks to him, because like he's kind of isolated in the town too. I mean, it was really good to begin with, but then it just like, I feel like the story was longer than it needed to be. If she cut it off a little bit earlier, it would have been a lot better. I would give it a 3 out of 5 because I feel like maybe some people would like love this. I mean, I know some people do, but only half of it was good. I'm sorry. If you like small town romance, then you should go read this. Next is Addicted to You. This is like a really long series, so I thought that I would like try and read it, but I couldn't. I feel like I should try again with this book because people say it's so good, and I mean, I feel like I haven't really given it that much of a chance. But it's basically about like these sisters, and they all, like in this book, she has like an addiction. She's like pretending with another guy that also has an addiction, that they're together so that way they can kind of hide their addiction from their families, and they're like super rich too. I don't know if that's important though, but basically, yeah, I don't know. I can't really rate this one. Okay, next is my favorite book, my favorite romance book of all time, and I also talked about this one in my other video, so you should go watch that. But it is Love in Other Words. I absolutely love this one. It's childhood best friends to lovers, and then they have a big falling out, and then they meet again. And it was so cute and adorable, and you should go read it. I'm not gonna say anymore because you go watch my other video. And then lastly is Happy Place. Okay, I got more than halfway in this book, and then I had to put it down because I couldn't read anymore. It was definitely not like anything I've ever read before. It's like about this couple who were like together for such a long time, but then they broke up, and then now they're going to this vacation house like with all their friends that they like go every summer, and they're gonna pretend that they're still in love and like together in front of their friends because they don't want to like tell them, you know, like kind of ruin the mood, I guess. I would give this like a 2.5. Even like the beginning was a little hard for me to get through, but I was like, I have to power through because it's a new book and I spent $30 on it. But yeah, the cover is super cute though. I love it. The cover, I would give it a 5 out of 5. Moving on to, I don't really know what to call this like genre, but I'm just gonna call it like fantasy, dystopian, sci-fi kind of theme, I guess. To begin with is Shatter Me, which I also talked about in my other video. This is like a YA dystopian novel, and it has like enemies to lovers, and the main girl has like a lethal touch, so her touch can kill, and she has to figure out what to do with that. And this series is a 5 out of 5. I mean, the first book is definitely like, you kind of have to power through a little bit, but it gets super good in these next books, especially the last one. So you should definitely go read this one, especially if you like dystopian. Even if you're not really into YA, you should definitely go read this though. Next is this Woman Kingdom, and this is by the same author as the Shatter Me series is, and that's why I bought it, because I thought I'm gonna like this too. But I couldn't. I mean, I'm sorry, but it was so boring. I couldn't finish it. I'm sorry, but I don't even understand really what's it about. So like, this girl, the main character, is like the long lost heir to like the kingdom in this town. It sounded really good to me, and I thought it was gonna be kind of like an enemies to lovers kind of, you know, hero moment. And I think it's also a series, and the cover is so pretty, like it's so cool. Okay, next is Fourth Wing. I also did not completely finish this one. I'm not even halfway, but I'm gonna keep on reading this, and it's like, in a world where there's like dragons and there's like enemies to lovers, and like there's like this school that you have to go to become like a dragon trainer, dragon flyer or something, kind of like a dragon soldier, I guess. Like you get to have your own dragon and like protect, I think so. I don't know. People were like raving about this. I mean, so far it is pretty good, but it hasn't really like, you know, hooked me yet, so I just haven't continued reading it. But I'll let you guys know what I rate this later when I finish it, because I will. Yeah. And then lastly in this like fantasy category is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. And I actually just got this one for my birthday. It's about this girl who goes to this small town to research like a fairy group there. One of her colleagues comes with her. It's kind of like an enemies to lovers kind of thing, and figures out like some dark fairy magic. Honestly, so far this one is a little boring. It hasn't really hooked me, and I don't know if it will. I don't know if I'll keep reading this one. But I feel kind of bad because I mean, my mom bought it, so. And the cover is super cute. 5 out of 5. We'll see. I won't rate it. Yeah, we're just gonna move on to the rest of my books. So this is my favorite book of all time, like my number one, and it's Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton, which is like a memoir, and she tells like little personal stories, and they're kind of funny and inspiring. It's like very relatable, and it's so good. You have to go read this one. Okay, it's a 5 out of 5. Sorry, I forgot to rate it. Okay, next, I don't have the cover for this one because I took it off. I don't know why I took it off, but it's The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I think so. And this one was a 5 out of 5. This girl, she kills herself, but then she's like kind of in between death and life, and she's in this like library where all the books are like different lives, like different ways her life could have turned out. So she like tries each life. It's kind of like figuring out like kind of the meaning of life, I guess. It's kind of like a philosophical book in that way, but it's also fiction, obviously. But I thought it was super good. It was like nothing I've ever read before. I've never like read a book with this kind of idea, and it was super good. It was 5 out of 5. Next is Emma by Jane Austen. And I tried to read this book because I wanted to, you know, like sound smart, I guess. Like I wanted people to be like, oh my gosh, you have Emma? And I could be like, yeah, I actually read that. You know, because Jane Austen is like a classic, but I couldn't get through it. I didn't understand half of what was going on, so I just gave up. It's still really cool to just have. Maybe when I get older and get smarter, I'll read it. Next is Speak. I got like maybe halfway and then I just gave up and watched the movie instead. But the book, it was really good. I should have just read the whole book and then watched the movie, but I got too eager. It's about this girl who's going into freshman year, but during the summer she goes to this party and she gets raped, and she ends up calling the police, and it busts the party, and all her friends kind of stop being friends with her. So she goes into like a really sucky year, and she doesn't tell anyone why she called the cops, so nobody knows, and they're all just kind of pissed at her. And it's just about kind of her journey with like also like her journey with like telling people what actually happened, because it's a very hard thing to talk about. It was super good. I think the book is probably a 5 out of 5, but I don't know. I've never finished it. But the movie was a 5 out of 5. So I'm assuming the book would be even better. So I think you should definitely go read this. I feel like it has some good like messages. Next is See You in the Cosmos. I finished this one, but it was a while ago, like a long time ago. I was like in middle school, I think so. From what I remember, it didn't like impress me that much. It's about like this boy, and I think he gets like a letter from someone and he wants to find out who it is. So he goes on kind of like this road trip, and it's like he thinks it's from like some family member because he doesn't really have any family. So yeah, he goes on this kind of journey. And I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna read it. I don't even remember. Anyways, that was all of the books that I have right now. I want to get a lot more. My dream is to have like my own library. That would be so cool. I hope you guys liked this video and I hope you got some recommendations. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.